30 years ago, this month, I moved down from Glasgow to London. It's a shame I've lost my accent, isn't it? Anyway, I moved down to take up my first job after university. Came into Waterloo Station, which is just south of the River Thames, walked along the South Bank, and came to Westminster Bridge. Seeing that famous outline of the building with its clock tower on the other side of the Thames, I just had to pinch myself because I was going to work at the Houses of Parliament. Couldn't believe it. I love that building. Sorry, I love it so much. I was just taking a moment to look at it again. Being in London itself was actually very exciting for me. It was exciting and new, but strangely familiar at the same time. It was like living in a Monopoly set. Euston, Waterloo, Trafalgar Square, and here I was. Didn't know much about politics before I came down. I didn't know that Parliament and government were different things. I didn't know that it was Parliament's job to hold the government to account. I didn't know that any UK citizen could come down without an appointment or invitation and just go in and ask to see their MP. Or watch a debate in the House of Commons or the House of Lords. Or go to a select committee meeting. Or just come in and have a tour. Or have a look around. When you're in London, you should come in and have a look around. The place you come into is Westminster Hall. It's the oldest part of the Palace of Westminster. It dates back to the 11th century, and it is magnificent. The size of it and the magnificence of its wooden hammer-beamed roof is literally awesome. Westminster Hall has seen many different sorts of activities over the years, over the centuries. It played a central part in British politics and British life. In and around Westminster Hall, the major institutions of the British state grew up, not only Parliament, but the law courts and various government offices. State trials took place there. People like William Wallace. You know William Wallace? Braveheart, Scotland. William Wallace, along with Sir Thomas More, King Charles I, they were all sentenced to death in Westminster Hall. But it wasn't all doom and gloom. Westminster Hall also saw shops, stalls, feasts, banquets, and some of the big state occasions. It's still used for big state occasions today. Important visitors, very important visitors, actually get to address both Houses of Parliament in Westminster Hall because it's the biggest space in Parliament. And over my 30 years at Parliament, there are two occasions that stand out in my mind of events that have happened in Westminster Hall. One was when Nelson Mandela came, and the other was when Aung San Suu Kyi came. It's on occasions like these when you hear about the fragility of democracy in other countries that I really felt humbled for the struggles that other countries had, and I think also learned to value the democracy that we enjoy in the UK. It's not that long ago in this country as well that we've had struggles for the right to vote. In 1918, that was the first time the ordinary working people got a vote. Before that, it was landed gentry and men of property that had the vote. And in 1918, men of 21 and most women of 30 were entitled to vote. Most women of 30. Now, that meant that my grandmother, she couldn't vote till she was 30, but my grandfather could vote when he was 21. In 1928, women got the same voting rights as men, so they could both vote at 21. So my mother and my father could both vote at 21. And then in 1969, I benefited from a change because that lowered the voting age to 18. Many people don't vote. I've heard people say, it's not worth it. They're all the same. What's the difference? But the fight for the right to vote is close enough to me in my generation that I feel quite strongly, people fought for my right to vote. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that vote. Now, they're actually talking at the moment, there's a debate going on, which you're probably aware of, should the voting age be lowered again? Should the voting age be lowered from 18 to 16? Can we have a bit of a vote here on it? I'll need to take my glasses off because I can't see you very well. Who thinks that the voting age should be lowered from 18 to 16? Can we put hands up, please? Not as many as I thought there, no. If the voting age were lowered from 18 to 16, would you use your vote? How many would use the vote at the next election? Aha, oh, that's good, that's good. So if you had the vote, you would use it, and that's great. Voting, of course, is just a one-off act. It's just a one-off action. And there are other ways you can be democratically active in between elections. Lots of things you can do. And one of the things you can do, actually, is become an MP. Did you know that at the age of 18, you can stand to be elected for Parliament? The youngest MP we have at the moment is 28. That's Pamela Nash. But I remember when Charles Kennedy was elected and he was 23. That's 23, that's not much older than some of you in the audience today. And if you're thinking about becoming an MP, I suggest you go onto the education website, Parliament's Education Service, because we've got a great interactive game there, MP for a Week. What this game does is it explains the different pressures that there are in MP's time. So you have got to balance your time, try and keep your constituents happy, try and keep your party leaders happy, and try and keep the media happy. And there are tensions there. You should try it. It's a good game. People say, young people are not interested in politics. And I say, rubbish. I know that's not true. Young people are interested in lots of issues. Sometimes they're very passionate about lots of issues. And that's politics. Caring about something and doing something about it, that's politics. Good news is, Parliament wants to hear from you. Parliament needs you to let the MPs who are elected there to represent you know what you think. How can they represent you if they don't know what you think? There are lots of ways you can get involved. Parliament's trying to do better than it has done in the past. It's trying to do better about putting all its information out there in a way that's easy to find. It's trying to be more open and accessible and welcoming to people, especially young people. So the website has got information, maybe too much information, but we're trying to find ways to help people through it. Parliament's using social media more than it ever did. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Flickr. And it's not only just putting information out there, it actually wants to get information back through these channels as well. Select committees are particularly good at using social media. They've been trying online forums, asking people to put views to them via YouTube, uploading YouTube videos. They've used Twitter hashtags to collect questions to put to government ministers on your behalf. So all these ways they're trying to get views and pull them in so that they can do their job of holding government ministers to account. Of course, there are other ways, not just through engaging with Parliament, that you can be democratically active. There are other ways that you can work to follow the things that you care about, and we've heard about some of them today. You could start a Twitter account. You could make a film. You could sign a petition, write a newspaper report, start a Facebook page. Lots of things you can do. We've talked a lot today about different careers and different professions. I heard a story once, don't actually know if this is true, but I heard a story that someone's job description read simply, "Do cool stuff." I quite like that. Do cool stuff. I do have a job description, and it's a bit longer than that. But in the 30 years I've been at Parliament, I've had 10 different jobs, and I've loved every one of them. Jeanette said something about work at something you enjoy. It's more about money. Absolutely. I have loved all the jobs that I have done. And at the moment, I've got lots of brilliant staff doing great stuff. And I want to share some of that cool stuff with you. Arts in Parliament is a programme that we put on over the summer in London 2012, part of the London 2012 Festival, the Cultural Olympiad alongside the Olympics, where we had a programme of arts and cultural events all over the summer months. Lots of young people coming in doing really cool stuff, dance, theatre, poetry, museum curation, art. And the picture on the left there is of a play that took place in Westminster Hall. That was a young 17-year-old playwright who had worked with the National Theatre and professionally produced and acted by National Theatre staff. She saw her play performed in that 11th century magnificent hall. It was breathtaking. Parliament Week. This is Parliament Week this week. I spoke to some people earlier and said a little bit about Parliament Week. Parliament Week's our big focus now in all the public engagement services. We are trying to garner all our efforts once a year to creating this one opportunity, Parliament Week, to try and engage with everyone throughout the country about what Parliament is and how people can engage with the democratic institutions in the UK. This year we're working with over 90 partners, so we don't do it all ourselves, we actually work with other people. We've increased the number of partners we're working with, and we've increased the number of schools that we're working with. And also we're doing a lot more with schools, and we're working in partnership with people like Fun Kids Radio that you'll see there. Also, hey, is Josh still here? Film Club. Film Club, we've got a great partnership going with Film Club where for all the different key stages, they have selected films that show some aspect of democracy and of about making a difference in your community or in your society. Big highlight of Parliament Week is the sitting of the UK Youth Parliament in the House of Commons chamber. That's happening on Friday. It will be shown live on BBC Parliament, and also on the BBC Democracy Live website. But that is a group of young people who are elected to represent their local areas, and they come together once a year for this big debate. They work throughout the year as well, but they come together once a year to have this big debate in the House of Commons chamber. Look at that, that's them last year. Amazing seeing all those young people debating issues that they've selected and that they feel really passionate about. Full house there. This year we extended Parliament Week and the UK Youth Parliament sitting to work in partnership with BBC 3, Free Speech, to create a resource that could be used in schools so that schools can debate the same issues that the UK Youth Parliament are going to be debating. It was launched there by Georgie and Jamal and Gemma. Don't know if you recognise any of them there, who made some films to kick it all off. And do you believe that 250,000 young people took part in a ballot to select which topics would be debated in the House of Commons chamber? 250,000 young people. So who says young people aren't interested in politics? TEDx. Thanks for listening to me here today. Thanks for inviting me here today. I'm a real big TED fan. This year, we had a TEDx Houses of Parliament. In our teams, we're trying new stuff. We're trying new ways of engaging people with Parliament. And we thought, wouldn't it be good if we had a TEDx Houses of Parliament and got people thinking about democracy in different ways? So we had scientists and architects, neuroscientists, poets. We had lots of people talking about democracy, different aspects of democracy. And there you go, we're doing one next year. Note the date, 14th of June, 2013. I've really enjoyed being here today. If you want to know more about Parliament Week, the services of the Education Service or the Outreach Service at Parliament, or if you want to know what to do next, how to actually do more about following those passions that you have, doing something about it, making a difference. There's very similar messages coming through today. We have a Next Steps page on the Parliament Week website. There are also some little cards. Take your next steps card away with you. And there are also some badges. So do come and see me afterwards if you want to talk any more about it. There's one thing I would like you to remember from the talk today, one fact that I want you to remember, and that is Parliament is not the same as government. Parliament holds government to account. But more importantly than remembering a fact, I would like you to think about democracy, what democracy means to you. And if you value your democracy, find your voice, use your voice, and have your say. Thank you.